Lavrentiy Beria. The name itself evokes a chill, a whisper of fear from the darkest chapters of Soviet history. Born in the Caucasus region in 1899, Beria's early life was marked by a relentless ambition that would eventually lead him to the very heart of Soviet power. As Stalin's chief of secret police, Beria was a figure of immense power, feared and loathed in equal measure. His life, a tapestry woven with ruthlessness and ambition, left an indelible stain on the Soviet Union. He was a cunning operator, adept at navigating the treacherous currents of Stalin's inner circle. Beria's rise to prominence coincided with some of the most brutal periods in Soviet history, periods in which he played a central and terrifying role. His legacy is one of terror and repression. He was the architect of mass executions, deportations, and unimaginable suffering. His name is synonymous with the Gulag, the vast network of forced labor camps that sprawled across the Soviet Union. Millions disappeared into these camps, victims of Beria's relentless pursuit of absolute control. This essay delves into the life and crimes of Lavrentiy Beria. It explores his rise to power, his role in the Great Purge, and his actions during World War II. We will examine his involvement in the Soviet atomic bomb project, his brutal methods of repression, and his personal crimes, including sexual violence. Beria's early years were spent in the volatile Caucasus region, a place rife with political intrigue and conflict. This environment shaped his ruthless character and honed his skills in manipulation and control. His ascent through the ranks of the Soviet security apparatus was marked by a series of calculated moves and alliances. During the Great Purge, Beria's role was pivotal. He orchestrated mass arrests, executions, and deportations, instilling fear across the nation. His methods were brutal, and his reach was vast, affecting millions of lives. Beria's influence extended into World War II, where he played a crucial role in the Soviet war effort. His involvement in the Soviet atomic bomb project further cemented his position as a key figure in Stalin's regime. However, his reign of terror was not limited to political repression. Beria was also known for his personal crimes, including numerous acts of sexual violence. His abuse of power knew no bounds, and his victims were many. After Stalin's death, Beria's fortunes changed dramatically. He was arrested, tried, and executed, but his legacy of fear and repression endured. His story is a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the human cost of tyranny. Millions disappeared into these camps, victims of Beria's relentless pursuit of absolute control. This essay delves into the life and crimes of Lavrentiy Beria. It explores his rise to power, his role in the Great Purge, and his actions during World War II. We will examine his involvement in the Soviet atomic bomb project, his brutal methods of repression, and his personal crimes, including sexual violence. Finally, we will discuss his downfall after Stalin's death and his enduring legacy of fear. Beria's story is a chilling testament to the destructive power of ambition and the lengths to which one man will go to achieve and maintain power. His life serves as a grim reminder of the human capacity for cruelty and the devastating impact of totalitarian regimes. As we delve deeper into his life, we uncover the layers of deceit, manipulation, and brutality that defined his career. Beria's story is not just a historical account, but a cautionary tale about the perils of absolute power and the enduring impact of tyranny. Finally, we will discuss his downfall after Stalin's death and his enduring legacy of fear. Beria's ascent to the apex of Soviet power was as swift as it was ruthless. His journey from a minor revolutionary to one of the most feared men in the Soviet Union is a tale of ambition, cunning, and brutality. From his early days in the Cheka, the Bolsheviks' first secret police force, he displayed a chilling aptitude for repression. His ability to navigate the treacherous waters of Soviet politics was evident from the start. He rose quickly through the ranks, honing his skills in surveillance, interrogation, and execution. Each step up the ladder was marked by a trail of blood and broken lives, as Beria proved himself indispensable to the Soviet regime. His ruthlessness caught the eye of Stalin, who saw in Beria a valuable tool for consolidating his own power. Stalin, always on the lookout for loyal and efficient enforcers, found in Beria the perfect candidate. Stalin, ever suspicious and paranoid, needed someone he could trust to eliminate his rivals and enforce his will. Beria's unwavering loyalty and brutal efficiency made him the ideal choice. Beria, with his unwavering loyalty and penchant for brutality, fit the bill perfectly. He became Stalin's right-hand man, executing orders without question and ensuring that Stalin's grip on power remained unchallenged. Beria's rise was marked by a series of purges within the security apparatus itself. He systematically removed anyone who posed a threat to his or Stalin's authority, often using fabricated evidence to justify their elimination. He ruthlessly eliminated rivals, often on trumped-up charges of treason or sabotage. These purges instilled a climate of fear and suspicion, ensuring that no one felt safe from Beria's reach. He understood the mechanics of fear, using it to control his subordinates and solidify his position. Beria's mastery of psychological manipulation was as effective as his physical brutality. By the late 1930s, he had become one of Stalin's most trusted lieutenants, his influence extending over the vast and terrifying machinery of the Soviet state. His power was nearly absolute within the realms of internal security. His influence extended over the vast and terrifying machinery of the Soviet state. Beria's control over the NKVD allowed him to oversee a network of spies, informants and enforcers that permeated every level of Soviet society. His position as head of the NKVD, the People's Commissariat for Internal Affairs, gave him control over the secret police, the Gulag system, and the Soviet border guards. This immense power made him a key player in Stalin's regime. He was, for all intents and purposes, the most feared man in the Soviet Union, second only to Stalin himself. His reputation for cruelty and efficiency was well known, and his presence alone was enough to instill terror. His every word carried the weight of death, his every command a potential death sentence. Beria's authority was absolute, and his ability to enforce Stalin's will was unmatched, his every whim enforced with ruthless efficiency. Beria's legacy is one of fear, repression, and unyielding loyalty to Stalin, a dark chapter in the history of the Soviet Union. The Great Purge, a period of unparalleled political repression in the Soviet Union, stands as a chilling testament to Beria's ruthlessness. From 1936 to 1938, the country was gripped by a wave of terror as Stalin moved to eliminate any perceived threats to his rule. Beria, as head of the NKVD, was the chief architect and executor of this campaign of terror. He oversaw the arrest, torture, and execution of millions of Soviet citizens. Anyone deemed an enemy of the state, from high-ranking party officials to ordinary workers and peasants, was vulnerable to his grasp. Show trials, carefully orchestrated for propaganda purposes, were used to eliminate prominent Bolsheviks and instill fear in the population. Confessions, often extracted through torture, were broadcast publicly, further cementing the atmosphere of paranoia and suspicion. Beria's role in the Great Purge was not merely that of a dutiful servant. He was an active and enthusiastic participant in the killings, personally signing off on thousands of death warrants. He took a perverse pleasure in the suffering he inflicted, seeing it as a necessary evil in the service of Stalin and the Soviet state. The Great Purge left an indelible scar on the Soviet Union, decimating its intellectual and cultural elite, and leaving a legacy of fear and distrust. It was a period of unimaginable brutality, and Beria was at its very heart. Section 4. The War Years. Beria's grip on production and security. The outbreak of World War II in 1939 brought new challenges and opportunities for Beria. With the Soviet Union facing an existential threat from Nazi Germany, he was tasked with mobilizing the country's resources for war and ensuring internal security. Beria's control over the NKVD gave him immense power over the Soviet war effort. He oversaw the production of weapons and ammunition, often using forced labor from the Gulag to meet unrealistic quotas. His methods were brutal and inefficient, but they kept the Soviet war machine running. At the same time, Beria's paranoia and suspicion intensified during the war. He saw enemies everywhere, both real and imagined. Ethnic minorities, particularly Crimean Tatars, Chechens and Ingush, were accused of collaborating with the Nazis and deported en masse to Central Asia. Beria's wartime activities were characterized by a toxic mix of ruthlessness and incompetence. He was responsible for both significant contributions to the Soviet war effort and horrific crimes against humanity. His legacy from this period, like much of his life, is a complex and deeply troubling one. Section 5. The Nuclear Ambition, Beria's Drive for Soviet Atomic Power. As World War II drew to a close, a new threat emerged on the horizon, the atomic bomb. The world had witnessed unprecedented destruction, and the stakes were higher than ever. The United States' use of this devastating weapon against Japan in 1945 shocked the Soviet leadership and fueled their determination to develop their own atomic capabilities. The images of Hiroshima and Nagasaki's aftermath were seared into the minds of Soviet leaders, serving as a grim reminder of the power they needed to harness. Beria, with his characteristic ruthlessness and efficiency, was put in charge of the Soviet atomic bomb project. Known for his iron-fisted approach, Beria was the perfect candidate to lead such a critical and demanding initiative. He mobilized the country's scientists, engineers, and resources, sparing no expense in the race to catch up with the Americans. Laboratories buzzed with activity, and engineers worked around the clock, driven by the urgency of their mission. Under Beria's direction, the Soviet Union established a vast network of research facilities, uranium mines, and production plants. These facilities were scattered across the country, each playing a crucial role in the development of the bomb. He used forced labor from the Gulag on a massive scale, exposing countless prisoners to dangerous levels of radiation. Beria's efforts paid off. The human cost was staggering, with many prisoners suffering from severe health issues due to radiation exposure. In 1949, the Soviet Union successfully tested its first atomic bomb, shattering the American monopoly on nuclear weapons. This momentous event marked a new era in global politics, altering the balance of power. This achievement, while a testament to Soviet scientific prowess, came at a terrible human cost, a cost that Beria seemed indifferent to. The celebrations masked the underlying suffering and sacrifices made by countless individuals. His role in the Soviet atomic bomb project cemented his reputation as a ruthless and effective administrator, but also as a man willing to sacrifice anything and anyone to achieve his goals. Beria's legacy is a complex one, marked by both monumental achievements and profound human tragedy. The development of the Soviet atomic bomb, while a significant geopolitical event, came at a high price, a price paid for in human suffering and environmental devastation. The landscapes bore the scars of relentless mining and testing, and the environment suffered long-lasting damage. The story of Beria's drive for Soviet atomic power is a stark reminder of the costs of technological advancement and the human toll of political ambition.